This is my second lecture on solar thermal power plants. In my first lecture, I had given introduction of solar thermal power plants, its construction details, and explained the working of the entire solar thermal power plant system, including the thermal storage system used in the thermal power plants. Now, in this lecture, I am going to deal with the different types of the solar thermal power plants. Now, you see, depending on the different types of the solar energy collection and harnessing systems, there are various types of solar thermal power plants which are as follows: parabolic trough solar power plant, parabolic dish solar power plant. So in the first case, the solar energy collection and harnessing system is of parabolic trough type. In the second case, the solar energy collection and harnessing system is of parabolic dish type. Likewise, there are two more systems are there. Third one is linear Fresnel reflector power plant, and the fourth one is solar tower power plant. So I will deal with all these four type of power plants one by one. So here I start with the parabolic trough solar power plant, right? So this diagram that you have already seen in my first lecture. So here you can see that this solar collector field is of parabolic trough type of collector. So hence this system is called the parabolic trough solar power plant. Now I will explain everything from these bullet points. So the first bullet point says that the parabolic trough collector consists of a large parabolic shaped mirror trough which concentrate the sunlight by a factor of 80 or more to a focal line. That means these uh, trough collectors can increase the solar radiation intensity by a factor of 80 or more than to this focal line where the absorber tubes are placed, right? Second point is parallel collectors build up a 300 to 600 meter long collector row. So here you can see that along this one row, this row can be of as long as 300 to 600 meter long. 600 means around half a kilometer. Now there can be several such types of rows and several such types of parallel rows form a solar collector field. So this entire solar energy collection harvesting system is called the solar collector. Now, in this case of parabolic trough solar power plant, one axis tracking collectors follow the sun. So here I would like to clarify that though the two axis tracking will focus the reflected radiation exactly onto the focal line, but one axis tracking uh, is enough for the parabolic trough collector. Uh, you see, since the sun has two kind of motion across the sky from morning to evening, it moves from east to west and simultaneously rises upward, from morning to noon, and then goes downward from noon till evening. So two axis tracking is required to focus radiation exactly onto the focal line. But since absorber tube has got certain diameter, so even if there is certain deviation in the focus light, most of the reflected radiation will eventually fall on the absorber tube surface. So that means one axis tracking is enough to follow the sun for a parabolic trough collector, right? Now the next point is heat transfer fluid such as thermal oil flows through the absorber tube. This tube heats up the oil to nearly 400 degrees centigrade, and a heat exchanger transfers the heat of the thermal oil to a water steam cycle, also called the Rankine cycle, that I have already explained in my first lecture. Now, in the next two bullet points, the process of conversion of thermal energy into the electrical energy in this block is explained, which I have already explained in the previous lecture. So I am not repeating these two bullet points, right? I'm moving to the second kind of power plant, which is the parabolic dish solar power plant, right? So here, this is the schematic diagram of the parabolic dish based solar power system. So parabolic dish solar power plant uses parabolic dish, that is the concave mirror type, that concentrate the sunlight onto a receiver placed at the focal point of the dish. Parabolic dish requires two axis tracking. You see, in parabolic dish collector, all the radiation falling on this dish are required to be focused on a very small area around this focal point. Hence, two-axis tracking is required for accurate focusing of radiation onto this small area, right? Now, a parabolic disk-based solar power plant uses the concept of a Stirling engine to produce electricity. So, you see, uh, I hope all of you must be aware of the working of the Stirling engine. So, this is the heat absorbing side of the Stirling engine. So, this side is placed at this focal point. So, all the radiation reflected onto this is falling on this absorber side of the Stirling engine. So this is how then this inside of this piston, the working fluid like the hydrogen or helium is filled, and once the heat is absorbed in the absorber side and it goes to the hydrogen or helium, an expansion of this gas takes place, and the expansion pushes the piston in this direction. This is how it works. Now, I'm not explaining the entire working of the Stirling engine because I hope every one of you knows it, right? And then you see uh, the thermal energy. Let me read out this third point. The absorber of the Stirling engine is placed at the focal point of the parabolic dish, and thermal energy transferred to the working fluid, which is usually hydrogen helium, at the absorber is converted to mechanical energy by the Stirling engine. So this absorbed energy is converted to mechanical energy by using this Stirling engine, and then this Stirling engine drives the generator to produce the electricity, right? Now, now I'm going to discuss the advantages of the parabolic disk solar power plant. The parabolic disk system can achieve a very high temperature due to high concentration of light onto a single point. I think I don't need to explain this point. It is obviously that since all the energy is being concentrated on one small area, so obviously the temperature G would be very high. Higher temperature led to a better conversion to electricity with high efficiency. So you see, we all know that for any reversible engine, working across a temperature operating temperature of say T1 to T2, but T1 is the temperature at which the heat is applied and T2 is the temperature at which the heat is rejected. The efficiency of such a reversible engine is given by 1 minus T2 upon T1. So if T1 is high, that is the temperature at which the heat is applied is high, then obviously the efficiency would be high. So in this case, solar power system, the achieved temperature is very high. So obviously this system has very high efficiency. In fact, this parabolic disk power plant system have the highest efficiency of all type of other solar power systems. Now the another major advantage of parabolic disk system is that Stirling dishes have very small footprint. Footprint means here you can see that this entire structure needs a very small, relatively small this ground area uh, to install this system. Unlike where in the case of parabolic truck collector, where we have seen that the collector field is of half an acre or half a kilometer square kilometer. But here in this case, very small footprint area is required to erect all the system, entire system, and the system is self-contained. It means that even the electricity generation system or device, which is selling in this case, is also you see here in itself. So this entire system is has a very a consolidated unit. So Stirling dishes can be easily placed on slopes or on even uneven terrain. Right now now the disadvantages of the system. So every technology also has got some certain disadvantages. So the first disadvantage is that in this system, the conversion from heat to electricity requires moving parts, which results in higher maintenance cost. You see, here in this Stirling engine, the piston is reciprocating inside the cylinder, so there are moving parts. Where moving parts mean there are sliding motion. And whereas in case of the parabolic truck collector, the energy is supplied to the steam turbines are used to produce electricity, and the steam turbines are rotary machines. So in case of reciprocating machine, the maintenance cost is relatively higher. The second disadvantage is that the heavy engine is part of the moving structure. This Stirling engine, which requires a rigid frame and a strong tracking system. Yes, so this tire Stirling engine is also be supported on this structure itself. Parabolic disc collector is a point focusing type solar collector. Hence, tracking must be dual axis to follow the sun with a high degree of accuracy. This point I have already explained. And fourth point is the electricity generation cost of this system is much higher than that of the other system. Only series production as shown in the following figure. Yes. So here you can see that there are several solar disk systems are connected in series. So this series system can achieve further significant cost reduction for Stirling this system. Yes. Now the next third type of solar power system is the linear Fresnel reflector power plant. So here in this the figure you can see the schematic diagram of the linear Fresnel reflector power plant. So this is the energy collection and harvesting field. So this field you can see in figure 2, right? So let me read out the first bullet point first. A linear Fresnel system uses a series of long, narrow, flat reflectors, or the reflectors are also called mirror because they reflect the radiation, placed at different angles to focus the light collectively onto an elevated, long, linear receiver running parallel to the mirror's rotational axis. Let me explain this bullet point with the help of figure 2. So here you can see that the linear Fresnel system, there are several, flat reflectors, right? And they are placed at different angles. Say for example, the reflectors toward this side are at this side are tilted towards the sun, whereas the reflectors which are placed at this side are reflect are are tilted away from the sun, and the receiver is placed at a certain height above these reflectors over here. So this is the receiver and this is also linear, right, and parallel to the mirror's rotational axis. So if we assume this this combination of these reflectors to form a continuous uh, part of cylinder, then this receiver is placed at the focal line of this or rotation axis of this part of the cylinder, right? So now next bullet point is it differs from parabolic trough collector system as the receiver tube is fixed in space. So uh, so here in this case the receiver tube is fixed, whereas in case of parabolic trough collector you must remember that the entire parabolic trough system along with the receiver tube are track the sun. So there in that case the receiver tube is also not tracking the sun, whereas in this case the receiver tubes are fixed. They are supported. The receiver tube structure is supported at the ends, right? Uh, Fixed and located several meters away from the mirror field. So this mirror field, this combination of mirror field is also called the primary mirror field. So here there are two mirror fields. One is this one and another is this one, which I will discuss later on. Unlike a parabolic trough, the focal line of a Fresnel mirror is not sharp and well defined, right? So you see, in case of the parabolic trough collector, you have a single focal line, but here, since these linear reflectors does not form a continuous structure, so the focus line is not a sharp and single line. For example, from this figure, you can see that if I consider this reflector, the radiation reflected from this reflector is reflected onto the tube, right? So all the radiation reflected from this will fall on the tube. So the focal line for this reflector is along the tube. But if I consider another reflector, say for example this fourth one, one, two, three, four, fourth one from the left. Now the radiation reflected from this radiation, if we follow this reflected radiation from this fourth reflector, then it is going and striking on this surface, not on the tube. So that means all the radiation reflected from this radiation is not striking on the tube. Rather, it will strike on another line. That means uh, so for this reflector, fourth reflector, the focal line is different from the focal line of the second reflector. So if we collectively take all the focus line, then that focus line will have certain dimension, will have certain diameter, and the position of this wide focal line will also vary a little bit continuously throughout the day. That means this suppose this the focal line of is of this, say, this diameter, then this focal line sometimes comes a little bit downside, or sometimes may go a little bit above, right? And hence a secondary mirror or reflector is placed or attached on the top of the receiver to focus the rays missing the receiver tube. So here you can see that the rays which from the fourth reflector is missing to the tube, but after again re-reflected from this secondary mirror, secondary reflector will reflected back to the absorber tube, right? Now the third point is an alternative solution to the secondary mirror is the use of several parallel tubes forming a multi-tube receiver that is wide enough to capture most of the focus sunlight. So instead of one single tube, if we take several tubes clubbed together, then the all the radiation will eventually fall on one or two or the other tube, right? So this is how it works. Then the rest of this working is like the other solar thermal power plant systems. Then the energy received on this tube is absorbed by the some heat transfer fluid, and then the heat transfer fluid is used to transfer this heat to the water to produce the steam, and then the steam is used in the gas cycle to produce oil, right? Now the advantages of this system is that the first advantage is that the linear Fresnel system offers a lower cost solution to the parabolic truss system, as the receiver is shared among several rows of mirrors, right? So that means here you can see that for all these reflectors, there is single receiver tube. Whereas in case of parabolic trough collector, if you remember, every parabolic trough collector have its own receiver tube, right? And so here there is one more thing that I would like to say is that since all the radiation reflected from several reflectors is falling on a single tube, so here the temperature achieved is relatively higher than those obtained in the parabolic trough collector, because there every reflector have its own absorber tube, right? Uh, while still using the simple line focus geometry with one axis for the tracking, right? Second advantage is the receiver is stationary, and so flexible couplings are not required. So you see in case of the parabolic trough collectors, the receiver tube is also tracking. So at the ends, the connections should be flexible in case of the parabolic trough collector. Whereas in this case, linear Fresnel system, the absorber tube is fixed, so the flexible couplings are not required at the ends, right? The third point is the mirror also do not need to support the receiver. So here in this case, this tube is supported at the ends from a different structure, right? Unlike the parabolic trough collector. So their structure is simple and cheaper. They require less steel and concrete as the metal support structure is lighter, making the assembly process easier. And fourth point is, in addition, the wind loads on linear Fresnel systems are smaller, resulting in better structural stability, less mirror glass breakage, and the structural maintenance costs are minimized. There is no need to elaborate further. Now, the disadvantages of the system. The first disadvantage is that the low optical efficiency of the linear Fresnel system. So firstly, let me explain the term optical efficiency. You see, optical efficiency for a concentric collector is defined as the fraction of total radiation falling on the concentrator. Concentrator means reflector. So the total radiation energy falling on the concentrator that reaches to absorbing surface. So let me explain this optical efficiency with the help of this figure. So these are the reflectors. So say 100 unit of energy is falling on this surface, but after reflection, some of the energy may strike on it, but some of the energy may pass from sides without striking on it. Still, it's only 70% of the energy was reflected radiation falls on the surface. So optical efficiency would be 70 was zero point 0.7, right? 70% of 0.7. So low optical efficiency of linear facial system in early morning and late afternoon. When the sun is low in the sky, tends to reduce the generation of electricity during this time period of the day. So you see when the sun is at very low during morning or evening, so most of the radiation which after reflection moves from sideways and lost to the surrounding, does not strike the surface. So optical efficiencies are normally low and during the early hours or late hours of the day, and so the electricity generation during this period is very low. The second advantage is also a major advantage that the linear receiver is fixed and shading of incoming solar radiation. This receiver tube is fixed; it's not moving. So when the sun is near around the absorber tube or the secondary reflector, or above the when the sun is above this system, secondary reflector or absorber, then most of the radiation will be blocked by this absorber tube structure. So, this causes significant shading when the sun is around this secondary reflector structure. And blocking of reflector solar radiation by adjacent reflectors can reduce the efficiency of the plant. Now, blocking the reflected radiation from adjacent reflectors means if let me take these from left, second, and third reflector. Now the energy reflects is you see. First, let me tell you that the middle of the reflector will be exactly flat and will not be tilted. But when you move away from this middle tube, middle reflector, the tilt angle will be increasing. So any like for example, this reflector has more tilt angle, it has a relatively lesser tilt angle. So if I consider second and third reflector, since it has a sharper tilt angle than the third one, so reflected radiation may go beneath behind this third reflector. So this may the reflected radiation may be blocked. So this may also cause lowering the efficiency, hence increasing the cost. Hence this will increase the cost per kilowatt hour, right? Now blocking and shading can be reduced by using more receivers at higher elevation. Uh, that means if we place this receiver at a higher elevation, then what will happen? This uh, if they are at a higher level, at a higher altitude, then this tilt angle can be reduced, or and the gap between the reflectors can also be increased. Then the blocking chances will get reduced, right? Or by increasing the receiver size. Or we increase this receiver size, even then we also increase the spacing between the adjacent reflectors, so that the blocking would be reduced, which allows increased spacing between the that are distant, more distant from the receiver. However, both of these solutions, which increases the cost as larger ground usage is required. Now, the fourth type of these solar thermal system is the solar tower power system. I will cover that fourth type of solar in my next lecture. And so here I am concluding this lecture